Our solution is an AI agent for water visualization, which aids water engineers in taking into account internal factors, which could be like, for instance, water salinity, and also external factors, which could be brought about by external temperatures, mainly from the environment. And we've also been able to take into account that the visualization is not just limited to those who occupy site, but we also take into account those who are visually impaired, who could not be able to interpret the text that have been placed in a particular software. So the problem statement, as you stated, water engineers usually have challenges in obtaining current insights. It could be like real-time information concerning how environmental patterns could be, or at the very least, there could be a pressure surge in a particular pipe. So at the very least, how they could use that current information to make immediate actions, and also taking into account those water engineers who are partially or fully visually impaired. We seek to find ways of ensuring that they could be able to utilize various Microsoft softwares. So what we devise is an analytic solutions for data visualization, which commences with getting information from the Microsoft Fabric, like real-time intelligence, for instance. And at the very least, we are also deriving information from three-dimensional software such as the NX. And for instance, there is the use of the analytical data store, which actually concerns the AI agents for the Microsoft Copilot. The agents actually used for creation of AI-driven assistant, and the flows for automation of tasks. And for the visualization, it actually comprises of reports, charts, and also the C# code, and which could also be simulated by use of the Power BI platform. So it's actually more detailed description of how we've been able to use the Microsoft Fabric for the workloads for the real-time intelligence, and two item types for the event stream and the data flow generation tool. That visual intelligence platform being used is the Microsoft Copilot, together with others such as the Azure AI Proxy Playground. The information is derived from IoT sensors, also manual records, and at the very least, data obtained from three-dimensional softwares. So this it's an illustration of the solution for those water engineers who could actually be partially or fully visually impaired. We've designed our plastic brain materials together with how we could interpret them with the QR codes, and having a voice assistant which could be put in place together with the webcam, which could ease the use of interpretation of the brain material. So for instance, this is actually a pictorial view of how the Microsoft Fabric appears. If you notice, there are the icons for the home, create, and browse. So this is what we've actually been able to devise by use of plastics, which by use of touch, someone who's visually impaired could easily be able to interpret them, rather than the usual text that's usually on the screen. So our reference is aligning with the corporate social responsibility for Microsoft, especially focusing on the water positive, for instance. And at the very least, the reference we're able to obtain is from the Microsoft 2024 Global Diversity Report of ensuring inclusivity, for which we've actually taken into account those who actually are visually impaired. So if I could be able to illustrate how the particular solution works. So this is the water engineering reporter, which is actually in the Copilot Studio. The description that you put in place together the general function. So this is the question we're able to put in place, and the response is actually very insightful, as we've been able to place in various prompts to ensure that this is the desired output. And now that the previous one was for the agents, so this one now it's for the flows, which we've been able to design. The information could be obtained from the MSN weather, which could guide our water engineers. Then afterwards, we've been able to intertwine them with the current, the timeline, which aids actually the reporting. Then afterwards, the information is placed on the Excel worksheets, and afterwards an approval could be put in place. And in case there are other queries, then an agent was actually designed. Then lastly, for the Copilot Studio, we also take into account like the brain materials, the actually dimensions. For instance, for the home icons, it could could be like 0.5 centimeters based on the dimensions. So the Copilot could actually compute such kind of factors. So this is from the use of the Autodesk or the AutoCAD. This is how we're able to design the brain material, for instance. And also, this is the information we've actually derived them from the NX, which actually three-dimensional software, which has capabilities of visualization of various parameters that water engineers actually use. Thank you for watching.